Welcome back, Floater Gang. We're going to be looking back at our predictions we made throughout the season. I'm going to start by roasting Lauren. Predicting the Timberwolves would be the 11th seed in the Western Conference Final with a 36-46 record.
Who did that?
The
You did.
Timberwolves? You did that. Me? They had a
I didn't think the
56-26 record, and they went to the conference finals.
So there was a 20-game difference.
Yeah, it was a pretty big difference.
You didn't even have them making the play.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound like something I would do.
It
I
does.
love the Timberwolves. I love
especially Rudy Gobert. Yeah, that's
to
true.
be fair, in that video, I did say the talent is all there. If they can figure it out, the sky is the limit. I said that word.
This was in the wake of the Rudy Gobert punching.
This is before the season started. This is after the playoffs. They had punched each other. It was kind of a rough season. We never know what's going on with Cat. And I said if they can all figure out their role and come together and buy in, the sky's the limit. That's exactly what happened. They all credit the players and Chris Finch too. And I'm sorry, guys.
Also, a little side note, I like how high you were on the Hornets too. You had them having a 38-44 record at the 11th seed as well, actually, and they ended with a 21-61 record.
Yeah, that's not counting. LaMelo got hurt again.
They didn't have Trey Man the whole season.
That's true.
Yeah.
They didn't have him until the end, so that was the real problem. It wasn't LaMelo because LaMelo's not that great.
They'll get there one year, guys. Hornets fans, I'm sticking with you. We'll be there one day.
We're rooting for you, but he's rooting a little more than most people, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for Trey Man.
I'm rooting for Trey Man too. Probably more than
Everyone roots for Trey.
Trayshawn Albert's my guy.
Yeah.
He's my guy.
Am I going?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Me and Deacon had some disagreements. One of them, if I recall, I had the Kings as my 7 seed, and I remember him saying, "That's dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb." He did not like that. I had the British at 43-39, and then missing the playoffs. He was not a fan of that
Well, they did have a better record than that.
at all.
By 3 games.
By 3 games.
Well, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
So they, yeah.
I said they didn't get better.
I also kind of expected a Keegan Murray leap when he kind of stayed the same from last year to this year. Harrison Barnes was classic Harrison Barnes.
Our point is your expectations are a little too high.
Yeah.
Just like
I was fooled by the buzzer, or not the buzzer, the beam.
You had them at 3.
Yeah, the 3 seed. Yeah.
That would have this year
Also
finished with the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and the Thunder.
Also, let's not
The elite of
forget.
the elite.
Let's not forget how you felt about the Suns and Devin Booker and winning MVP.
Well, yeah. So that's tough as well.
Let's get to the Suns. Okay, you can here. So this is what he said for the Suns. He said it would be a disappointing season if they lose in the first round in 7 to the Clippers.
And that is
They lost in 4 actually, but
The
more
Timberwolves.
disappointing to the Timberwolves.
Who he was predicting to be 30.
He also said the Suns' year. This is the Suns' year. They will have the best offense. Their offense will be so good. Their defensive deficiencies and playmaking deficiencies won't matter. You won't be able to stop their offense. He was envisioning a Pacers offense, which of course moves the ball a lot, but he said the playmaking wouldn't matter. He also said,
not to mention the Suns had the 17 points per game in this.
I think
So they didn't.
defense was
They
actually
didn't
better.
quite. It was.
you were right on that.
They were
Frank
ninth.
Vogel, defensive-minded coach. He called that all season. But he also they would have so many closers. How would they be able to lose a game when it comes down to it, right? The Kyrie Luka Doncic effect, right? They were bottom 2 throughout the season in closing out like in fourth quarters.
They were not good.
They were not good at closing out games. And he also had them making it to the finals by beating the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. To make it feel better, there was ESPN and most basketball analysts were super high on the Suns.
Yeah, so
He's not alone.
I was thinking more of with my heart, because I do like the Suns in my head.
Oh boy.
I'm assumption right now, actually. But
Yeah, unfortunately, it's
Unfortunately, we should ban that.
Yeah, we should
yeah.
take it off.
right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I think I just had a vision of Bradley Beal back in like the 2021 Wizards days, not like current, but like what he was last year with the Wizards, which is not as good. And he was injured a lot. And for the Devin Booker MVP, he had a good year. I mean, he was All NBA.
Not MVP caliber
Yeah,
though.
well,
He wasn't. He wouldn't even be the guy on his team to win MVP.
He played Devin Booker type basketball, and that's great basketball.
well,
That's
so I was thinking like
at least top 15.
because he was like the de facto point guard now. He would take a
Well, you were
play
wrong
making league.
again.
He did average a career high in assists.
Wow.
Yep, and we still said they have too many guys that just want to score the basketball, and there wouldn't be enough flow.
And we were right.
And Royce O'Neal's going to change that. Full season of Royce O'Neal.
Suns. This is the Suns' year. This is the Suns' year. Royce O'Neal will bring them to the promised land.
I think Mason Plumlee
Mason
will bring him to
Plumlee,
the
big
promised
time.
land.
Damian Lee's going to be healthy this year.
Hopefully.
Just a fun fact.
Don't
some
say
love-
that yet. We still got 4 months or so until he.
Some love for Bradley Beal here. Again, this is what happens when you have 3 guys that just want to score the ball. He actually was insanely efficient. 43% 3-point ball and 51% of field goal. So he did not. He wasn't bad at getting buckets. The problem is you can't play good basketball with it.
Oh, so he was basically just like Walmart Devin Booker, which
is what would make sense
Which
because
doesn't
you
help.
have one basketball and 5 players on the
You
court.
can't have 2 Devin
You
Bookers
can't
on the
have
team.
everyone always just getting buckets.
in
at the same time.
hindsight, it was not a good prediction. I will
Yes, correct.
and I will change. I will not let my heart.
Speaking of bad predictions, previous Suns, Monty Williams, right?
Yeah.
So we did a little our own awards, right? Lauren came out and said Cancun coach Monty Williams.
Cancun coaches that we expected to be fired, by the way.
Yes, bad coaches. Thank you.
Just go watch.
Deacon, we had a little argument. One of these things Deacon said in that was Monty is a really good coach, proceeds to be fired after being the most or highest paid coach.
We also talked about in a superlatives video. We had an argument where he was talking about how good of a coach Monty was to bring in and pay the most money ever above
To develop a team.
Popovich, Spoelstra, Steve Kerr, and how that was absolute madness. And Deacon was defending him.
And he was saying Monty Williams
So
is a
Monty
very
Williams,
good
you have a guy that
developmental
was hired.
coach.
Maybe, would you still hire him?
To develop a team?
Yeah, it's a great developmental coach.
I mean, no. So I was fooled.
Again.
No,
His Spidey sense is really kicking in.
dude, like the song just came out of nowhere in the bubble. I was like, oh guys, like
Hey
it's
man, that's
hard.
4 years ago, man.
But
Yeah.
that was still drilled in my brain. And then the next year they went to the finals. It's kind of hard to like analyze a coach, especially because I wasn't like as smart as I was back then.
What you should have been
I
thinking
even
is they
know-
have Chris Paul.
That probably played a huge factor.
It does every team he joins.
Yeah, and the decision to like not utilize Jaden Ivey, who was just the 5th overall pick, was not. I was not a
Star
fan of.
Thompson.
I'm not as high as Azor.
Yeah, but
Really?
you got being in their
His
position.
offense is just
You
so,
can't just take his
He was
minutes
so
away from
good
him.
the first
was
month
awesome.
when he was getting minutes. So,
I mean, he was like defensive player of the year.
and you expect for development, that would be very good.
Yeah,
Especially considering, no hate to Boyan. Boyan was the guy that was getting minutes.
yeah. That's not great.
There
I'm not gonna defend myself because it was bad. But
is no defending yourself.
I don't think JB Bickerstaff's gonna be any better.
Yeah.
Or he'll be better. He'll be better.
He
I
might
think he'll be a
I
little
think
better.
he actually might be a better developmental coach, but I don't think he's a great coach. He's
No.
not their coach of the future.
No.
And I think
I hope
the
not.
Pistons are doing a lot of Pistons
And
things.
sometimes it's okay to hire a coach that's not gonna be your coach of the future.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
If you pay him the right amount and
Yeah.
the highest paid coach
Yeah.
of all time.
And then keep him for only a year.
assuming they're going to play the guys that you're trying to develop, which Monty did not.
Well, I think they might want to do a few trades first too, just considering.
And they got Tim Hardaway,
Oh,
Tobias Harris. Man.
yep, that's true. Yeah, what are they doing?
What
What are they doing?
I don't know.
excited.
I want to know.
They're trying to beat the losing streak that they almost beat. Or
Oh,
they
they're
beat
trying
it
to
this
get
year.
to 29.
Well, they
Trying to
made
do
the
it.
new one.
Yeah, and they're trying to do it again.
Yeah, they're trying to beat themselves. They want to be top 3, so they're gonna do it the season after again.
Cooper Flag's really good.
I'm not sure that's what they're looking at right now. They're just bad. I don't think it's on purpose.
it's actually like they're like trying to be good. Like they're bringing in vets, and if they're just like bad again, it's just gonna be like that much more embarrassing.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately where they're heading.
Although who knows, Tobias Harris may turn into 2021 Tobias Harris.
I'm all for it. I love Tobias, but I don't like Detroit that much. I was really high on them actually last season too,
Yeah,
but luckily we don't have good enough proof for that, so we can keep that out.
You were too much of a coward to do standing.
He had them fighting for the play-in.
I had there was hope.
He had
There
them
was
fighting
hope.
for the play-in, and we were like, "What are you doing, pal?"
There was hope. I
was
was
all
hopeful. I was a hopeful Piston fan in that moment. Didn't pan out too well because they had Monty Williams.
And Cade wasn't as good as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just bad
the
roster
talent around
construction.
him is
Yeah, it's just
The
bad
roster
roster.
construction wasn't good, and then Monty wasn't playing the right people around him either. It was fun.
You guys have any?
I don't have any more. I mean, I have one. Valney's not here, but I have to just roast him like he deserves because I love Tyrese Maxey.
I'm gonna roast him on
He
something else
didn't have him
afterwards.
on his top 10 under the age of 25, and we got a little bit of hate actually from Deacon too that he was not projected to be better than Darius Garland. I said almost word for word. He's literally a projected or potential better version of Darius Garland, and that's exactly what he is.
Can't argue that.
I still had him on the list at least.
That's good.
So,
That is good. Yep.
Would
And
you
yes,
have
I
him
was-
9, 10?
I was wrong about Darius Garland, or I was wrong about Tyrese and Darius Garland, like comparatively. But in that video, you guys also said that you would take LaMelo over Paulo, which I think is blasphemy.
I would still take him over him. I do think the argument is closer. I still take LaMelo over Paolo.
I mean, at the time, I said LaMelo over Paulo, which I think I would definitely not say.
Yeah.
I am not going to back down from that just because Paolo, he's actually been insane. So he definitely. I apologize for projecting him completely wrong. He was not on my list. I think that's where I'm horribly off on this.
Yeah.
And then we saw what he did
I don't
in the
think any of us
playoffs.
had him on the list.
Just like he's a bucket and he can do just about anything. Yeah, you're right. So I guess we can all get called out for that. But I don't have any regrets about LaMelo comparison. I'm not. I would take LaMelo on my team. I think LaMelo would be better for my team. I am a huge Magic fan. And
If we turn injuries
sometimes
off.
Paulo pisses me off because he doesn't pass the ball enough or just play slow. But he's
Yeah.
he's really good. So it's not like I can really hate him. He's an amazing player.
Got the Carmelo thing
Yeah,
to an extent.
yeah. To an
But
extent.
also, like,
He's
I don't want to
super good.
like totally be out on him yet because he doesn't have good shooters around it.
Yeah.
Franz Wagner forgot how to shoot
Yeah.
second half of the year.
Also, another hated pick for Valentine is he was very high on Kevon Looney being the most underrated player in the NBA.
An argument with Deacon and Valentine on this.
Kevon Looney proceeded to get rarely any minutes throughout the
Guys,
season.
he was so good in that finals.
Okay, so
But he's not the most underrated player in the
underrated.
NBA.
What does it mean? Underrated. He doesn't get credit, and this is the exact argument we had on that episode. I said Kevon Looney is great. He does about one thing,
And he
good,
got credit
and
for
that's
it.
rebounding, and he gets credit for that. There's nowhere where he's lacking credit. There's nowhere where he's underrated. I said he is not like they need a better center. They need an upgraded center. He's not the guy. I don't know how he can be the most underrated guy when he's arguably getting more minutes and a bigger role than he should be. And he's getting talked about as the elite rebounder he is, and that's all he brings.
Yeah.
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 Makes sense.
I'm glad it makes sense.
I'm glad too. Oh boy.
Sometimes you gotta own it.
Yeah.
It is true. That is true.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't too lucky with my Bones Highland 6-man of the year pick either. To be fair,
potential.
I got unlucky because he just didn't get minutes. I still do stand by the fact if he would have a 6-man role, he could definitely win it.
He was a trooper last year.
He tried. But then they got James Harden, who I was never in favor of.
Great trade. In hindsight. Kinda.
There was a trade. I think it was a trade. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It happened.
It happened. I think that's where we're going to be.
That was Batum. They could have used Batum in the playoffs.
Well, they got him back now.
No, that's true.
He signed with them again.
Batum and Derrick Jones.
That's true.
They didn't lose anyone, did they?
Well, they lost Paul George.
Oh, yeah.
And they're gonna lose Russell. They're gonna lose Russell Westbrook.
On the Nuggets. That could be interesting.
That could be interesting.
Might be bad.
Do we want to flip sides to some
the
congratulations to
positive.
each other?
A couple more things on the standings. We both had the Grizzlies as the 1 seed.
I think everyone, or not.
No,
everyone, but
Aubameyang,
we all had him
at,
top
like, 2
three.
or 3.
We all had him top 3.
Um, I mean, so I think the thought was like, oh, they're going to be just fine with Jaw out, and they were pretty terrible.
Well, that plus they got
But when
extra
Jaw came
injured.
back, they were excellent.
They got extra injured.
Yeah.
Too throughout the season.
Which you guys said there might be an adjustment period for Ja to come back.
It was the opposite.
That was not a thing. Ja came back.
That was Valentine that said that.
Yeah, but I said that you were like giving him a little bit of credit. But you
like-
were not on a side. You were not on a side. You were just giving him a little bit of credit. But I was like, guys, I don't see that
I
how
thought it
that
would be
makes
like-
any sense at all. And to be fair, I was right. He actually, I think he had a slow first quarter. I think I don't know. It doesn't really matter. He had a great game and a game-winning basket.
Hit the game winner.
He had an amazing game, and I was like, okay, good. That was the argument right there. It's just like, why would he be bad? He's not coming back from
Also,
injury.
Desmond Bain as my most improved, which because I thought he was just going to go.
I
crazy.
still like that.
Yeah.
It was a rough Grizzlies year. All Grizzlies fans.
You also said a Kongwu too.
Yeah, you did say
It
it
wasn't great.
That was.
Yeah.
You also said Hawks at 3.
But
You
speaking
also
of
said Hawks at 3.
yeah, that's true.
I had them losing first round.
But going to the congratulations, I do want to say Lauren nailed it. Absolutely nailed it right on the head. He said Mikhail not close to MIP.
Mikal Bridges.
He had basically the exact same stat season as he did last season.
A
So
little bit worse.
yeah,
like
even that.
efficiency-wise, and-
Yeah. So he nailed that one right
He
on.
was
the
the
head.
odds-on favorite. That's why I wanted
Dead
to
eye.
debunk that. Don't bet on that.
Dead
A lot of
eye.
people probably bet on that in Vegas, and they shouldn't.
They
He's in
didn't
a
listen
bad
to you.
situation.
They
I
didn't
think
listen
he'll
to
be better
you.
next
The Nets were wild.
I
We
still-
were all got the Nets a little bit wrong. We were all a little bit higher than the Nets.
Jock Vaughn as your coach of the year.
Yeah,
I didn't be the coach of the candidate. I was not.
Yeah, you had
expecting to win,
him,
but he
Pop,
was
and Udoka. So
a candidate for
Pop?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the Spurs might make some noise with Wemby. Yeah, I
You didn't
know.
know
The
that?
Wemby. I didn't think Wemby was gonna play like 20 minutes half the games, and then like
and he still popped off.
yeah, I thought there was a chance that we might be competitive this year,
Didn't work out.
and we weren't.
No.
We won. We didn't even win more. We won the exact same amount of games. I'm pretty sure that we did the year before. And that was disappointing.
You two both had Scoot for rookie of the year. Not great.
To be fair,
You just
to
said
be
it.
fair, we did both agree that Wemby most likely will win it. But if for some foreseen circumstance he wouldn't play 65 games or something, Scoot could be the runner-up, which still wouldn't have happened.
would
You also
not.
had Anthony as your clutch player of the year and your most improved player.
I had him as a candidate for both. I thought most improved actually was very legit. Clutch was more of a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah.
He did not take the leap I was expecting. He did get hurt. He actually played really good in the beginning, and then he got hurt, and then after that, it was kind of rough in that whole organization. That whole team was a little bit rough. But I was wrong.
Not a mention of Brandon Miller from any of us when talking about rookie of the year.
Yeah,
Shut
that
up.
was
You should have. I was a Brandon Miller. I was not as high. I thought he got overdrafted. And he's awesome.
I had him as one of my most underrated players.
It's true.
It's a rookie.
You got that
That's
damn right.
yeah, that's true. You had him at 4,
I think so.
so that was
Another thing,
2, 4.
since Marvin's giving me flowers, I give Marvin flowers so we can be cute.
I like flowers.
Marvin nailed Tyrese Maxey, most improved player. While we were on the, I debunked Mikal Bridges, and Marvin finished the job with Maxey. Did
Huh?
you make the pick?
Oh.
What'd you say?
So it was the most obvious pick. but-
Did you make the pick? Okay,
So it wasn't.
no, it wasn't that obvious.
I picked Devin Booker as my MVP, so clearly I wasn't going with obvious.
True.
I don't think
Fair
Tyrese
enough.
Maxey was even a top 3 like odds-on favorite.
I think it was like Mikal was like
And Mikal was number 1. I don't think Tyrese was top 3,
I don't think it was.
especially because Harden was technically still on the team.
Yeah.
that's true.
But I don't think Maxey was the top 3.
I think Halliburton was pretty high.
Yeah,
Was he?
I think so.
I mean, he might have won it if he kept going like he
Yeah.
was.
He might have won MVP.
I mean, you had him as an MVP candidate.
Not like a
I
real one. I had him as like a
yeah.
top 10. He could be a finish in the top 10 race.
I don't hate
And that was
considering
all
what
looking
you were
awesome.
saying. I didn't hate the pick.
Yeah,
at all.
the injury really took him out.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
And he rushed his way back to get the money for his contract,
And he got
And to try to help the team.
which he got was
Because
awesome.
the
A little
team
bit.
too was not.
A lot of it
doing
was
very
the
good
contract,
without
though, which, by the way, the NBA needs to fix that up. It's kind of a stupid situation they have going. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but we can talk about that some other time.
some other time. Yeah, very true. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we can really give Deacon very many flowers.
I can give him a flower.
You want to give him a flower?
He almost was even this close to getting Kobe White and Ida Sumnu right in the play-in hot take tournament. In fact, Before we recorded, he said he's gonna take them to score over 60 points combined. And guess what? They did exactly that. Against all odds, they did that. But guess what? On the spot, while we were filming, I think maybe you said it right before, he said 70 points, and so he missed it.
So Kobe White scored 40, which I called, which is remarkable. I didn't have 30.
He had 20,
Yeah.
which is still good.
So it was, and that was like a hot take. That was a hot take. I don't think anybody else across the country, not even Bulls fans, didn't call that.
Or even support him.
So the
Probably
Spidey sense really kicked in right there.
Yeah, for once, that was probably the
If
first.
we're talking playing hot takes, I want to shout out Lauren.
Oh,
So for the Warriors Kings game, he predicted a really big game from Mr. Maverick himself. He had 30 points for Klay Thompson and
over 10,
over
greatest
10.
elimination game of all time.
Not great.
That was an experience.
I'm speechless. There's nothing to say about that.
Sure
I had him
there's-
having a huge game, and he had one of the most infamous games of all time.
Look, I'm not gonna blame you for taking Klay because he's either over 10 or he's scoring 30. Like that's what it seemed like. But just
At least in this point in his career.
That sums up his season pretty well.
Yeah. Mhm. I agree. I mean, unless you guys have any other shout outs, disappointments that you noticed for us, that wraps up our little recap of our predictions throughout last season. Let us know what your predictions were, which ones you liked and didn't like from us. And then looking forward to doing another one next year after another crazy NBA season, but unfortunately we have to still wait a little bit for that.
New season coming up. Stay
I'm still
tuned.
excited for it anyways. Summer League coming up very soon too.
Dylan Jones, Summer League MVP.
Something like that. But with that, Floater Gang out.